Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today's video is all about solving some of the issues of backlog. Now I've received a lot of inquiries, emails, also all our clients friends basically question this. Now you may have heard of this. Oh, how long does the student visa gonna go through for processing? The school or institution or university is already commencing its semester and the visa has not even been finalized. Now what do I do? Now obviously we have learned, or you have been following my channel long enough, we have learned that there has been a huge backlog, well, caused by the former government, and also plus in addition to the pandemic. Obviously if you speak to Scott Morrison, he'll probably say it's all the pandemic's issue, but again it's also an internal issue as well. I think it's the budget that the former government has shifted from, had cut from the Department of Home Affairs Immigration and utilized in the pandemic situation. But anyway, it has caused the current issue. So a lot of people has submitted their student visa application and it has not been granted or been finalized, but the semester or the term of the school or institution or university has already started. How would this happen? Now obviously it's a comprehensive issue that I'm gonna take you to have a look, and at the end of this video I'll tell you how this can actually be resolved. Perhaps that you can have that, but if you already lodged it you can only wait, but if you haven't, there is a way to solve this kind of issue. So let's jump into the global processing page of the Home Affairs. So it's you may want to Google visa processing time space Home Affairs. You may find yourself end up in this web page. Now why are we here? Because we need to show you what's the current situation on all the visa application processing time. So if we scroll down with all the crap here, well, you can read it if you want, but let's go in here and basically type in 500 visa, because 500 visa is generally the student visa application for either going to be the foreign affairs, defense, or post-grad, or in any course that's English courses, school, vocational, or higher education sector. Now you may look at this, sometimes it's really confusing. Either it's going to be 16 days, 29 days, or 7 months. How would that go for 7 months? I mean, how do you deal with application for 7 months, and how would that end up with such delay? Obviously, that's 25% visa finalized, 50% visa finalized, 75% visa finalized, and 90% of visa finalized with the higher education sector in 7 months. Wow, you serious? Now let's have a look at the comment section. What does it say? It says the student visa processing has continued throughout COVID-19 pandemic. Student visa application for application outside Australia are being prioritized to allow new students to enter Australia. Well, how do they explain a prioritized visa application with a 7-month processing time? How will that work? I mean, 7 months, that's almost 2 semesters. 1 semester is about 4 months. 7 months, almost 2 semesters. Why would I wasting time waiting on this one? Okay, allow new students to enter Australia to commence their course. As such, processing time of this cohort are faster. In March 2020, that's just about 4 months ago. That's before the general election. 90% of application were client outside of Australia were finalized in 58 days. That's about 2 month time. But how do they have that 7 month? It's another cautious, because I do get a lot of people comment in my channel that they have been taking more than 58 days. Now you may agree with me, or perhaps your friend a relative is applying visa and still waiting. It's crazy. How would this happen? Obviously, due to the backlog and also human resource scarcities that has been resulted from the former government. That's the current government trying to say what the former government had actually done. So how would that work? Now, one thing that we need to check is that not just the 500 visa, but if you are taking like children or your spouse together with this visa, it's likely to be longer. So if we search because 500 visa, it doesn't show the subsequent entrant processing time. But however, if we punch in 590, we may have a better view of how that's gonna work. So as you can see, that's for generally for student guardian. That's including parents and things. That's all the it's similar to subsequent because the documents require to process it is similar to the subsequent entrance. So as you can see, 3 months to 5 months, that's still crazy. How are you going to wait for that one? I mean, if your child is going to a school sector, if we go back to 500 visa school sector, and here we go, like you can see here, 14 days, 29 days, 70 days, and 90% goes for 4 months. Now, how are we going to work on that one? 4 months is already probably 2 terms for school sector, and the average now is about 63 days. That's still around 2 months to go. So a lot of people probably end up with more than 2 months. So what can you do about this? Now, what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to introduce you to bridging visa. Now, no one really talked about bridging visa. It's sometimes a key visa to be utilized in a time like this today that can actually resolve your situation. But we need to check the law, how you can actually obtain this bridging visa. Now, generally, the general rule is if you're in Australia, obviously you got a visa to be in Australia, right? And you apply for any visa, okay, for example, student visa, you automatically get a bridging visa that allows you to indefinitely wait until the visa has been finalized. Okay, so that will actually work for someone who's already in Australia. So then that's probably the answer, right? Now let's go into have a look at the law, what actually says on the bridging visa. Now I'm gonna take you to the what's this called, the database of the immigration law database, Legend.com. It's a subscriptive database. You need to pay for this, otherwise you cannot access to this. So 010, obviously no one had heard about visa 010. It's commonly called bridging visa A. I'm gonna take you to the first section where it says 010.211, and that is the key that we can actually utilize bridging visa in order for you to wait for those prolonged visa processing time in order to actually stay in Australia and get your kids and get those students to commence study while waiting for the visa. So you don't have to wait for visa to be finalized or granted, then you fly over to Australia. You can actually fly over to Australia utilizing bridging visa and do it that way. Okay, so how do you get this one? The applicant meets the requirement if the application has been made in Australia, a valid application for a substantive visa that can be granted while you're in Australia. That's pretty straightforward. And then while the application has not finally be determined, because well, that basically meant that has not been granted, so you're waiting on the processing time, right? And while you're holding a substantive visa, well, obviously you were, because you're already in Australia, right? So that will work on that one. And here we should apply for bridging visa, or they will get an automatic granted on the bridging visa. Now this is actually very vital. I'm not going to go to number 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 because that's for a very complex cases where people lodge protection or partner visa or in an appeal process. So this the regulation 010.211 subreg 2 is the part that we are gonna utilize today. So how would this actually work on your situation? So obviously you would like to apply and submit your student visa or student guardian visa while you're in Australia. So how do you get into Australia first? probably get a visitor visa or electronic travel authority. Wouldn't that be easier? Because now there is no restriction. There is no more pandemic restriction anymore. You don't need to do any PCR test or no RAT, and you don't need to demonstrate any of your vaccination status at all. So let's go back to the processing page here. Now, if you're a passport holder, allow you to apply for electronic travel authority. For example, you're holding a passport of Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, most of the European countries, and USA. You may apply for that, and you probably get that within minutes. Nowadays, you can actually download an Australian ETA app in your iPhone or smartphone, whatever it is, and you can apply for it. You get it within probably 5 minutes. If not, then, for example, you're from India or other places, countries, you may apply for 600 visa for tourist purpose, right? And that only takes, here we go, a maximum to 37 days. That's still better than waiting for a student visa, and it's not costly. I think the cost is about 140 or 150 bucks, and you can actually get it, because sometimes 25% of them get less than 1 day. You see that? Now, why don't we utilize this, and you can get this done? Then you can actually fly in Australia with the kids who's going to be enrolled as a student visa, or fly in as a student buddy yourself. Then you apply for student visa while you're in Australia. Then you get that bridging visa, so you can utilize that bridging visa while not waiting for that crappy backlog causing your issue, unable to allow you to commence your study. Because we got to face the fact, if you're kids, if you're in the age of students, for example, you are between 12 to 20, I mean, education is so vital. If you miss out 2 months of study waiting for your student visa, that's crazy. I mean, that's chaotic. I mean, no parents could actually accept that kind of status. So why don't you utilize your travel facility authority, ETA, utilizing your Australian ETA? You can download that app, Australian ETA, or utilize or apply for 600 visa granted within a day or a couple of days, and then fly into Australia and apply your student visa. I hope this video will actually help a lot of people in regards to your situation, because I have noticed, due to the backlog inherited from the former government into this new government, and obviously we got border open, you can buy the ticket now, but you don't get the visa. How would that work? You can buy air ticket and not getting a visa. How do you study abroad in Australia? Now, I hope this video will help a lot of people out. Anyway, should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.